All right, I can finally talk about the worst kept gaming secret in the history of gaming. It's Valve's Deadlock, and they've released the NDA, so I'm free to talk about it. I've been playing it. I've got, over a day's worth of playtime in the game already. I figured that I would upload this to this channel because of Counter-Strike, and it is a Valve property, but I'm going to be frank with you. I don't think there's going to be much gameplay or content of this game on this channel. And the reason is because it's a MOBA. Don't go into it being like, oh my God, I can't wait for Overwatch 3. It's not like Overwatch. Almost at all. I would say that it is more MOBA than anything. It's a MOBA with guns, with shooting aspects. It is not a shooting game with MOBA aspects. And there's last hitting, CS, creep denial, there's laning, there's ganking, there's all of this stuff, power-ups, mid, whatever you want to call it, they got it. It's a MOBA. So if you don't like MOBAs, you probably won't like this game. But if you're kind of like me, who played a lot of MOBAs back in the day and kind of lost their love for it, the movement system, clicking a shit ton, all that stuff, well, fellas, this game fucks. So I'm going to give you guys a bit of an overview of the game, what to expect when you go in, how it's played. I'm not going to get into nitty-gritty details because that ain't me. A casual understanding of what you're looking at, and then you can go explore for yourself. I'm also going to give you my opinions on the good, the bad, and the ugly because I have quite a few already, but let's get into it. Like I said, it's a MOBA that has guns. Every character has, some ranged weapon of some sort, and the range is going to vary based on your character. Some have long guns, some have, a short laser beam or a shotgun, but the fact is that you are shooting like a third-person shooter a lot in the early game. And the early game is very important. But before you even get into the game, there's so much that is different from a normal MOBA, which I really enjoy. For example, you can choose a slew of heroes to get queued into. There's no pick ban phase. You choose from, I'll play this hero. Yeah, I'll play it. To, I'd like to play this hero, please. To, give me the hero, bro! This is my hero! And those are the tiers that you can go into when you queue into a game. So if you queue a bunch of heroes, chances are you get into a game much faster. But if you're more specific or you really, really want one, that's cool that you can weight your options because there's no pick ban phase. You just don't even know who you're laning with, who's on your team, who's on the enemy team until you're standing there in the lobby with everybody waiting for everyone to connect, which that's a huge change, right? There's no mind games before the game starts. It's all adjusting and adapting to the blindness of what's going on. Now, that may not be the case in ranked at all. This could just be the unranked version, but I like that for now. It keeps things fun. And because it's a MOBA, with shooting aspects, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to make content on it. It is reminding me a lot of when you watch Overwatch or when you watch Dota and you don't know what's going on, and it's just a bunch of color shit. It's like a blender of effects, and it's just blasting your eyes. It's not very viewer friendly, and that's not great for streamers and content creators. But I need to say something. As I was trying to think about how to phrase that, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit since I've been playing it, like, how do I make content around a game like this? Because it's not quite anything, but at the same time, it's really fun. I realized, like, dude, most people aren't doing that. Most people aren't making content around it. It's okay for a game to not be visually appealing as a stream game or too confusing as a stream game. Like, not every game needs to be built from the ground up to be the most approachable esport with high level scaling, and I'm sure every game wants to have that, and maybe this game can get that even with its chaos, just like Overwatch League and whatnot. But I'm just saying that it's a stupid thing for me to criticize, right? Like, just because it's confusing to watch doesn't mean it's that much more likely to fail in the long run, right? Like, why is it not okay just to make a game that's incredible to play and then everything else is secondary? So in that note, I just don't know how to make content around it, but I'm sure people will find out build guides, funny builds, etc., all that stuff, how to play this hero, all that you would expect, but it's just not content that I make. I make silly content. How important is laning phase? It brought me back to my first games playing League of Legends, where I went like 0-15 for a month while I figured out the importance of spacing and when to engage and how to last hit and not to get poked and all of that stuff. Like, the amount of knowledge you need to play a lot of the MOBAs right now is like in just random experience of just where to stand on the map. And one thing this game does incredibly well, you have objects in your lane and verticality and bridges and flank routes and lots of line of sight breaks to really allow you as a short range character or as a newer character or somebody who doesn't like getting poked down to play around these static elements and not worry about getting poked down to 20% health as easily as you would standing in an empty lane of League of Legends. It takes a lot of that tug of war, or that, like, you know, boxers when they're back and forth and nobody's really making a move. I hate that. I hate that mind game. I want to have the option to approach slowly, methodically, using cover, or use the full all-in dive over the bridge to catch somebody off guard, or just poke people from up there without cover. Like, I like the trading off you have to do in order to engage with the people that are in your lane. That said, nobody really knows what they're doing. I mean, I like to think I do, but you'll oftentimes, especially now, find that people don't know the importance of last hitting. When you kill a minion, a little orb flies up. That's half of the souls that you're gonna get, so you need to either shoot that or deny the enemy team from shooting theirs. If you melee, it immediately confirms it, so that's another angle to the game. But overall, that whole, like, CS denial thing, which is critical in MOBA, is very critical here too, and you can't overlook it. But the way that they do denial, where it's not just last hit it, it's no, you have to steal this orb. It's like an aim trainer. It's so good. Not having 3 lanes and having 4 really just spreads out the action, while also allowing you to have a lot more opportunity to split enemy attention and maybe get away with doing some more pressured backdoors and stuff. Which again may change when everybody knows how to play methodically and with the metas. I just love the 4-lane approach, and also not knowing which lane I've been assigned to until you're in the game, because it changes the way you're perceiving how you're gonna go about the game, all the way from choosing your hero to when you're laning, right? You choose your hero, you get into the game, you see who you're laning against, do you have a duo partner, which lane are you, and all that jazz. And then once you're in lane, you're like, man, I'm in purple lane, I'm in yellow lane, I'm on the far left or far right lane. That's way different than being in the middle 2 lanes. It reminds me a lot of playing midfield in soccer, where it's like, if you're on the wing, you don't have to worry about what's behind you. It's a sideline. You're just looking at focusing your attention ahead and to the right, or ahead and to the left. And in the middle, you're kind of able to influence each side more, more easily, and you have a bigger role to be kind of a support, but also a main character in the general game. All the heroes are compelling, which is so important in a hero shooter, right? Like, I want to feel locked into a hero because of the way they look, they act, they sound, and Bebop's my boy. He's so fun. But you can clearly see every hero has this niche, this style that's very Valve and not cringy. It's crazy this came out during like Concord's release or some of the other hero shooters, because it really puts into perspective what like a well-crafted world can be without any backstory. They don't fucking tell you anything about these guys, really. It's not like you go in and there's a cinematic and they're like, Bebop, who's a robot taken from the garbage pile of the elite. He's like, I'm Bebop, I hook people, and I got a laser. It's like, okay, that's sick. You're gonna notice the UI design is a little cluttered, and even me watching this right now, there's a lot going on. I mean, behind my camera, there's something, bunch of, info on my movement stats and fire rate buffs, and below you see my abilities, my money, you got my health changing, and all this stuff. But I have to say, it's actually surprisingly not intrusive when you're playing the game. You're so focused on that middle square and what's happening in that square that you're not looking up and really saying like, oh man, the enemy team has 20,000 more souls than us right now, unless you're dead. It's a lot of UI elements there if you need them, but not in your face. And I think that it's grown on me a lot more than when I first started. When I first started, I was like, man, it's like Persona, but like, where do I look and why do I care about this bar and why is the text so small? And then I realized like, no, it's just vibes. You look over and you're like, my shield is 40% and I got 80% health. Maybe I should back. It's not like looking at the numbers unless you really want to. I also want to mention that some of the abilities are objectively not fun to watch and fun to use. So for example, Seven, a character that I like playing, is like a very big AoE lane pushing, farming monster. Then his ult, you press 4 and a giant line of sight AoE dome storm cloud comes out from you. And if you use this build, you will have it going for 30 seconds with insane lifesteal, torching anything alive that can see you. And it's kind of not fun to watch, but it's really fun to just be God mode for a bit up there. And it's what I mean by some of these characters and some of the abilities are large, bright, hard to distinguish from a viewer's perspective on why you should care about not walking into that or avoiding that, and also kind of not interesting to spectate, but who cares? Who cares if it's fun? It's fun, right? Like, if it's fun, it's fun. Am I coping? Or am I just like trying to look at this objectively? I genuinely do not know. So I'm curious what your guys' opinion on watching this game is. If you haven't played it, does this seem compelling to you? If you're a MOBA gamer, I think you should check it out. If you don't play MOBAs and you've been curious, absolutely check it out. This is the best time to get into a game that is a MOBA-centric game. 20 heroes, so it's not too crazy to learn. I mean, it's really just, if you've ever wanted, this is gonna be the one. And if you hate MOBAs and you don't like that idea, stay away. You're not gonna like this at all. And that may be disappointing to you, but you're just, there's a lot of things that they will not remove from this that are so tied into the MOBA belief, and you know, the towers and the bosses and the minion waves and whatever. Like, if that ain't yours, then you're not gonna like it. But I appreciate you guys watching this video, even though it's not Counter-Strike, and I'm curious for your thoughts. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.